Welcome to the Deep Dive Books channel, where we hope you find something valuable every day.
Let's continue interpreting A Brief History of Intelligence by Max Bennett. This is part 7 of the interpretation. Today, we will discuss the fourth breakthrough in the evolution of the brain, which occurred roughly 15 million years ago, in the brains of primates. Dinosaurs ruled the Earth for 150 million years, a remarkably successful reign. Humanity's own dominion over the planet may never reach such longevity. During that vast era, our ancestors were only mouse-sized creatures, living in caves, and only daring to emerge at dusk, when dinosaurs were less active, to catch insects for food. Our brains were far more advanced than those of dinosaurs. We could imagine, plan, and understand cause and effect. But we stood no chance against dinosaurs. They were our predators, and we were destined for a humble existence, with no hope of rising. Then, about 66 million years ago, an asteroid struck Earth. This impact first caused a hellish firestorm, followed by a cloud of dust that covered the sky for 100 years. By the end of that century, nearly all dinosaurs had gone extinct, except for the ancestors of modern birds. Meanwhile, we survived by living in caves. When the clouds finally cleared, large animals had been wiped out, leaving us as the new rulers of the land. With no predators, we were free to explore new ecological niches. Mammals flourished, evolving into horses, elephants, and tigers on land, returning to the sea to become whales, dolphins, and seals, and even taking to the skies as bats. The dinosaurs did nothing wrong, but now it's the era of mammals. The greatest achievement of mammals was the evolution of our ancestors, the primates, including apes and monkeys. Our bodies grew larger, and our fingers became capable of folding over, combined with the neocortex's ability to coordinate movements. We could now climb trees, and we left our caves to live in tall forests in Africa, active during the day. This ability to climb gave us a significant advantage. We could eat fruit from the trees. As frugivores, we weren't small like squirrels, and larger animals could only eat low-hanging fruit, or wait for ripe fruit to fall. We could directly pick the fruit, which was rich in sugar, and provided ample energy. More importantly, we gained leisure time. While other animals were constantly foraging, courting, or resting, we had time to do something else. We played politics. Early mammals had brains weighing just 0.5 grams. By 10 million years ago, the brains of primates had grown to 350 grams. Why did we need such large brains? The current scientific consensus is to play politics. Fighting against nature, or other species, does not require such a large brain. Only fighting against each other does. Indeed, the joy of political struggle is endless. The most important theoretical contribution comes from Robin Dunbar, the famous proposer of the Dunbar number. He discovered that the size of a primate's neocortex is directly proportional to the size of its social group. The more social you are, the larger your brain needs to be. Because living in groups is a troublesome affair. The primary benefit of living in groups is to reduce the risk of predation. A lone sheep in the wild is an easy target, but a flock of sheep together can all flee at the sound of a warning, making it difficult for a predator to catch any of them. If pressed, they might even fight back, scaring off the predator. Thus, animals prefer to live in groups. But living in groups comes with the problem of internal conflict. While food might be abundant, if they eat grass, for example, mates are limited, leading to inevitable conflict. Some animals, like tigers, prefer solitary lives. Others adopt monogamy, with a pair raising their offspring, without interacting with other members of their species. Still others practice harems, where a group consists of one adult male and his mates and offspring. While these strategies minimize internal conflict, the groups are small and lack the advantages of larger social groups. For a group to be larger, it must solve the problem of multiple males coexisting. Of course, the animal kingdom has devised some methods. One is sports-like competition, where two gazelles might fight for a mate by butting heads, but the fight rarely turns deadly. Observers see who is stronger, and once the winner is clear, the conflict ends. Another method is submission displays, like bowing, or a dog rolling over to expose its belly, signaling, "I surrender, I won't fight." These behaviors seem more peaceful, but are still based on absolute violence. In non-primate mammals, power within a group is strictly determined by strength, with a rigid hierarchy. High-ranking males get first choice of food and exclusive mating rights, while low-ranking males get inferior food and often no mating rights. This is far from an ideal situation. Leaders constantly worry about being challenged, while the lower ranks live in constant misery. All individuals are unhappy. Some may envy the seemingly carefree life of deer, unaware that deer engage in more severe battles than we do. This purely strength-based group life isn't true politics. Such social animals do not need larger brains to match the size of their group. Primates, however, have developed a more sophisticated approach. In primate politics, even if your personal fighting ability isn't the strongest, you can still attain the highest status. To engage in politics, the primate brain has a hardware foundation. Our brains are not just bigger than early mammals. They also have two new areas in the neocortex. The granular prefrontal cortex, GPFC, and the primate sensory cortex, PSC. Previously, we discussed the granular prefrontal cortex, APFC, in mammals. The GPFC is unique to primates, and in conjunction with the PSC, it grants us a new ability. This ability is also a hallmark of the neocortex. Simulation and prediction. But this time it involves placing oneself into a simulated scenario. In our last video, we discussed how the APFC can generate personal intentions. The input to the GPFC comes precisely from the APFC. Simply put, the GPFC projects your intentions, feelings, thoughts, and knowledge into the scenario you are simulating. In other words, the GPFC allows us to view ourselves from a third-person perspective, stepping outside ourselves to observe ourselves. Bennett offers a thought experiment in his book. Imagine one of our primate ancestors, at a crossroads in a maze, deciding to turn left. If you ask it why it turned left, different layers of its brain would give different answers. The reflex layer might say, "I'm hardwired to move toward that smell on the left." The vertebrate layer might say, "My dopamine system, through reinforcement learning, predicts that turning left will maximize my reward." The mammalian layer might say, "I understand cause and effect, there's food on the left, so I go left." The primate brain layer might say, "I'm hungry, eating feels good, and I know there's food on the left." This is about treating oneself as a component within a model and simulating. This reminds me of a Zen story from Japan. Miyamoto Musashi was watching a cockfight. Meanwhile, there were other eyes watching Miyamoto Musashi from a higher place. The role of the GPFC is to let Musashi become those eyes at a higher place. This level of intelligence is remarkable. The ability to view oneself as the other and observe from above is what psychologists and philosophers call metacognition. Metacognition is crucial for politics, because if you can simulate yourself, you can simulate others. Simulating yourself and simulating others use the same neural networks. Even a 4-year-old human child can guess the intentions, deceptions, and knowledge of characters in a comic strip. This is what children in kindergarten should be learning, and why they must play with other children. They need to learn to simulate the wants, knowledge, and thoughts of others. A skill known as the theory of mind. Don't let children miss out on learning the theory of mind. It is far more important than memorizing poems at age 4. This is crucial for the development of key areas in the brain. Those with thicker GPFCs have larger social networks and perform better on theory of mind tasks. Simply put, your emotional intelligence is determined by your brain's hardware. With the theory of mind, you begin to be aware of who is your enemy and who is your friend. Once primates possess the theory of mind, their social interactions become more complex. Multiple studies have found that primates, whether apes or monkeys, can understand the intentions of others, distinguish between someone who could help but won't and someone who wants to help but can't, understand if someone is withholding information or genuinely unaware, and determine if they are being deceived. They actively avoid deception and even deceive others. They categorize people based on trust, creating relationships with others. Once relationships come into play, politics emerges. The key is that we don't just consider an individual's personal strength. We also look at their relationships. The most crucial of these is kinship. In primate groups, society is divided into several families, with social hierarchy based on family. A young member of a high-status family can easily scare off an adult from a lower-status family. Much like the son of a landlord reprimanding a servant. This only happens among primates. So, for a ruler to secure their throne, they must strengthen their family. Don't worry about accusations of nepotism. After all, who goes to war with strangers when they could go with their family? The more children you have, the more secure you feel. But relying solely on kinship is primitive, not fully understanding politics. Even those who belong to your family may betray you. So, primates began to develop real friendships. Relying solely on kinship is still too primitive and doesn't offer much more advantage than in the case of antelopes. Kinship is an obvious label. If you only trust your own family, it means outsiders will certainly distrust you. Consequently, everyone outside your family becomes a natural opponent, leaving you in a state of constant insecurity. To rule over more people, you must build relationships beyond your family. You need allies. The reason primate social status isn't solely based on strength is that we've developed trust relationships between non-kin individuals. Research shows that, in primate groups, when conflicts arise, family members will always come to help first. However, about 1/3 of the time, non-family members will also assist. This is crucial as it means your influence can scale. You can expand your power through relationships. Therefore, the essence of politics is to accumulate as many friends as possible, ensuring that people will genuinely support you when needed. So, how do you build relationships? Primates often use grooming during leisure time, cleaning each other's fur from dust and parasites. We've discussed before that grooming far exceeds mere hygiene. Its primary purpose is social. Multiple studies indicate that physical contact is the most effective way to build trust, including for humans. But grooming isn't something you do with just anyone. If you're determined to be a Machiavellian, you must avoid ineffective socializing. Primate political socialization follows 3 rules. First, high-ranking monkeys should always befriend lower-ranking monkeys with special skills. This is known as strategic value. Especially if a lower-ranking monkey shows exceptional ability at a young age, you should try to bring them into your fold for your benefit. Second, lower-ranking monkeys are also inclined to befriend those from high-ranking families. This way, they can gain better treatment without conflict. Research shows that the offspring of rulers are often the most popular playmates in their group. Third, if a conflict erupts within the group, such as someone impulsively attacking a high-ranking family and failing, the ruler must show magnanimity and actively reconcile. Research indicates that rulers spend twice as much time grooming those they have recently quarreled with. Chinese political theories, whether Confucian or legalist, essentially revolve around this concept. Legalism demands maintaining the ruler's absolute authority, while Confucianism aims to moderate the hierarchical system, both aiming to ensure security while reducing violence. In essence, it's all about monkey politics. So far, no one has specifically trained AI in theory of mind. Given that theory of mind is a skill even monkeys master well, its upper limit should be relatively low. Therefore, I believe that, even if AI learns theory of mind, it won't outperform us in this regard. We need not worry about being replaced in this aspect. As long as it's a zero-sum game, and resources must be allocated by some authority, it will always be this way. Fortunately, modern humans don't need to dwell on this constantly, because we can create our own wealth. But theory of mind offers us more than just political insight. It also provides 2 key abilities, leading to modernization, which we'll discuss in the next section. That's all for today's content. In the next part, we'll discuss the path to financial freedom.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.